Okay, today's lesson is understanding multiplication fractions by whole numbers. All right, in what our lesson today, we're going to try, when by the end of our lesson today, our goal is to be able to tell by looking at a fraction or a mixed number or an improper fraction, if we multiply that times the whole number, is the whole number going to be greater or less than? Well, let's look at 3. We're on number 1. We're going to multiply 3 times 5 halves. Okay, first of all, look at 5 halves. What kind of number is 5 halves? Improper. It is an improper fraction. So we know, is that less than or greater than 1? Greater than 1. So on this one, y'all guessed a few minutes ago that it's going to be larger. Well, let's work it and see if it's going to be larger. Okay? Today's lesson is really, you don't have to work it out. That's not our goal, but we're going to work some out to see if our guesses are right. So what do I first do to my 3? What do I always put it over? 1. If I have a whole number that I am multiplying by a fraction, I always put it over 1. So now let's say 3 over 1 times 5 halves. Well, yesterday in our lesson we talked about cross multiplying. Can we cross multiply here? Yes. No, we cannot. Why not? We have all prime numbers, and none of them have a number in common. So we know that we're going to multiply just straight out. So what is 3 times 5? 15. Excellent. What's 2 times 1? 2. Very good. Can I leave it like this? No. Because in Miss Stroupe's classroom, we are always what? Proper, and this is improper. So I'm going to say 15 divided by 2. How many times is 15? Can 2 go into 15? 7. We're going to go in 7 and have 1 half left over. Was our guess correct? Yes, because we now know that 3 times 5 halves is going to be 7 and 1 half. All right, let's look at the next one. I have 7 times 1 half. Let's look at our fraction part. Okay, is that fraction part, is that a whole number? Is it greater than a whole number? Is it greater or less than 1? Less than 1. So if I multiply 7 times 1 half, are we going to have a larger number or a smaller number? Smaller. Let's check it and see. So we think smaller. All right, well, let's work it. 7 is a whole number, so I put 7 over what? 7 over 1. Very good. Times 1 half. We can't cross multiply here because we have no numbers in common. So we're just going to say 7 times 1. What is 7 times 1? 7. What's 1 times 2? 2. Okay, what kind of number is this? Improper. It is an improper fraction. And can we leave it as an improper fraction? No. So we're going to divide it out. We're going to say 7 divided by 2. 2 will go into 7 how many times? 3. Excellent. 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. And do we have remainders now? Do we say R? No. What do we always make our remainder? A fraction. So, were we correct? Yes. Because 3 and 1 half is much smaller than 7. Right? Okay, really quickly, I want you to take a look at the next one, and don't work it out. Just write your guess, what you think your guess will be.
Just write it down.
Write what you think your guess will be. Alrighty, so if I take and I circle my fraction first, circle that fraction first. What kind of number do I have there? Is it a fraction or improper? It is an improper fraction. Do we leave fractions improper? No. But when we're multiplying, we do. But is this number less than or greater than 1? Greater than. So are we going to have more than 4 or less than 4? More. So let's write our guess as larger. Who wrote larger? Excellent. All right, now we're going to multiply it out. Sorry, let me spin it back. Okay, we're going to multiply it out. We're going to say 4 over 1 times 7/3. We can't cross multiply here, so we're just going to multiply straight out. What is 4 times 7? 28 over what? 3. Can I leave it like this? It is an improper fraction. How many times do you think 3? Let's put 28 here. Oops, sorry. Y'all know I'm still learning with this thing, so. All right. 3 will go into 2. Is that true? No. 3 cannot go into 2, but how about 3 into 28? Yes. Yes, how many times? 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. 8 minus 7 is 1, so I have 9 and 1/3. So was that greater? Yes, it was much larger, so we figured that our guess was correct. All right, next question. I have 2 times 1/3. I want you to tell me, go ahead and make your prediction, if it's going to be less than, greater than, or equal to. What do we think?
Smaller.
Why do we think it's going to be smaller? Because, hold on, what? Jay, tell me that one more time.
1/3 is not a whole.
1/3 is not a whole. And I know if I am multiplying by a fraction, I'm going to get smaller pieces. So let's put the word smaller and work it out and just see if what do I do with my 2? Put it over what?
1.
Put it over 1 times 1/3. Can I cross multiply? No. 2 times 1 is 3 times 1 is
3.
very good. 2/3. Is 2/3 less than 2? Yes. If I have 2 whole candy bars I started with, and now I've only got 2/3 of 1 candy bar, do I have less? Most definitely, yes. Okay, I want you to go ahead and I want you to put your guess and work this next one, okay? Write down your guess and work this next one. Okay, what do we think? Less than, greater than, what do we think?
Less.
It's going to be smaller. How do we know it's going to be smaller? Because we have a fraction. It's not an improper fraction, so we know it's going to be less than 1. We're going to say 5 over 1 times 1/5. Can we cross multiply?
No. Yes.
Yes, we can cross multiply this time because we have 5s in common. 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1. 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1, which any number over itself is going to equal what? 1 whole. So, was 1 smaller than 5? Most definitely. Okay, who got that one right? Raise your hand. Okay, so on this worksheet, this is what we're going to be doing for homework tonight. We're working on the reteach worksheet. We're doing the same thing that we just did on our interactive notebook worksheet, but instead of saying smaller or larger, or decrease or increase, we're going to say less than or greater than or equal to, okay? So let's take a look at number 1. Let's take a look at number 1. All right, number 1 says 3 1/2 times 3 1/3. is blank to 3 1/2. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at it. We've got 3 1/2 times 3 1/3. What do we have right here? 2 what? 2 whole numbers. We have 2 whole numbers. But I know that if I multiply a whole number by a whole number, if I say 3 times 3, what am I going to get? 9. So is this going to be greater than, less than, or equal to 3 1/2? Greater than. That is all we're doing. Okay? That's it tonight. We're going to look at it. Remember, if it is okay, let's take a little note on the side of your... Yes, love?
So we only compare the whole numbers?
No, you've got to compare the fractions too, but you know that if you multiply a number times another whole number, it's going to be larger, right? But if I'm multiplying a number times a fraction, the pieces are going to get smaller, okay? So that's what you have to look at. Let's take a look at number 2. Everybody circle this right here. That is a fraction. And we know that if we multiply by a fraction, what's going to happen? Is the number going to get bigger or is it going to get smaller? Smaller. So let's take a look at this. Somebody said bigger, so let's just work this one really quickly beside it. And I'm going to show you how we can figure this out. Okay, first of all, we cannot multiply. When we are multiplying mixed numbers, and we're going to get more into this on another lesson, when we are multiplying mixed numbers, we cannot multiply them until we make them mad. Everybody write the word mad. Okay, how we make them mad. The M stands for multiply. The A stands for add. And the D stands for, no, not divide, denominator. And I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's start with 2 1/3. Okay, we're going to multiply. Let's put a little multiplication symbol right here. We're going to say 3 times 2. What is 3 times 2? 6 plus 1. What's 6 plus 1? 7. And then you simply bring over your denominator. We made it mad. We multiplied, we added, and then we brought our denominator over. So that's making it mad, okay? So before you can multiply with a mixed number, you have to make it mad. So now let's multiply. We're ready to multiply. Let's say 7/3 times, we have 2/3, equals. We cannot cross multiply. We have nothing that we can cross multiply, so let's just multiply it out. What's 7 times 2? 14. What's 3 times 3?
9.
Can I leave it like this? No. So what I'm going to do is let me move this around a little bit so I can get a little bit more room to work on. And I'm going to say 14 divided by 9. Will 9 go into 14?
Yes.
How many times?
1.
1 times 9 is 9. Subtract. 14 minus 9 is 5. So I have 1 5/9 as my answer. Well, now let's come back up here to our problem and let's just write 1 5/9 underneath that. And we're going to compare 1 5/9 to 2 1/3. Is 1 less than 2? Yes. So it is going to be Oh, y'all made it. Hold on. Miss Stroupe wrote it wrong. Let me erase. I'm sorry. I was not looking at what I was doing. My bad. Okay, 1 5/9 is less than 2 1/3. Okay? Does everybody see how we did that? Is there any questions on that one? Okay. I want you to go ahead and work number 3 by yourself. And let's see how you do on it.